All right, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and welcome back to the Labyrinth. So, as always, I got some poetry for you guys today, and I always say it all the time, but especially with these ones, I think you guys are really going to enjoy these ones. I hope you enjoy these ones as well as all the poetry that we read. And if you are indeed new to Nigel Dixie Stuff from Labyrinth, first of all, welcome. But if you are returning, welcome back. But if you are indeed new here, what we do is, for the most part, with some exceptions, we read poetry. We read and analyze poetry. I personally love poetry. I hope you do as well. So we read, analyze poetry, analyze their meanings, at least my interpretation of things. But if you have a different interpretation, that is totally fine. In fact, let me know about it in the comments. And if you do enjoy these kinds of things, then and please let me know in the comments and leave a like and subscribe and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So this first one's called Genie. So I have I have three poems written by myself and then two written from other poets, and we're gonna go through them. But yeah, so this first one's called Genie. If I was walking down the street on just an average day, and suddenly a genie came up to me and offered me three wishes, what would I wish for? What would I ask for? Would I ask for endless riches, more money than I know what to do with? Would I ask for love, a companion until the end of time? Would I ask for peace, to calm my troubled mind? Would I ask for a new pencil, since I dropped my other one? What would I do? What would I ask for? So, well, a couple things. For starters, this is a question that's not necessarily phrased in this way, but kind of bit gets asked quite a bit. Like something like, hey, if you found a genie, what would you wish for? Or kind of like a similar one, hey, if you had $1 million, what would you do with it? Stuff like that. Pretty much, kind of like an icebreaker question, kind of like a way to gauge people's responses. Pretty much like if you had access to stuff that you don't normally have access to in like a huge way, whether it be a genie that can grant you wishes, it's like all kinds of crazy wishes, or like $1 million you can buy whatever you want. Pretty much, if you had, if you weren't limited by by not having a whole lot of money, or something to that effect, like what would you do with or like if you were able to almost in a way break reality in a way, and also I've kind of told kind of a similar poem kind of similar to this in the past, as I forget the exact name of it, but kind of like a similar theme, kind of thinking about like what I would wish for, what I would want, like what would I desire to have. And pretty much that's why they ask, because, well, for starters, it is for the most part, I think, at least an interesting question, but also because it gauges what people value, like like if you had $1 million, oh, I'd buy this, I'd buy this, I'd buy a whole bunch of this. Like, it usually gauges what people value, like what people value. Who, for some people, they'll buy like a whole bunch of stuff. For some people, they'll donate part of it to charity. So it definitely gauges what people value for the most part. Same with the genie question. If your wish was granted, pretty much the wishes being the values and the desires of your heart. All right, so which is kind of something to think about. And also, if I saw a genie on the side of the road, I would hope it would be like Robin Williams. But this next one is called Change. Why do we fear change? Because it's something new. Because we aren't sure where it will lead. Because we don't know if it will be worth it. Because we don't want to let go of the familiar. Because we fear what we don't know and what we don't understand. Because we ventured into the unfamiliar. Because our life can change forever. So it's pretty much talking about change. Now, this one I had it wrote a while ago, and read quite a few episodes ago. But why do we fear change? And a question that a lot of people have asked and tried to answer over the years is, why do we fear change? Why, when something changes, are we automatically opposed to it? Why does it take time to warm up when things change? And I think because we get so familiar with the familiar, we get so comfortable with the familiar, or we know what to expect. So when something unexpected happens, our brain freaks out, whether good or bad. Obviously, there are bad changes that happen in life, whether you lose a loved one, and maybe you lose your job, stuff like that. But there's even some major changes, such as like you get a new job, or your job's relocating you, and you're moving to a new state, or something like that. And so, change can be scary sometimes because we don't know what's on the other side. We're not afraid of change because we know what's on the other side, but because we don't know what's on the other side. We don't know what exactly this change is going to result in. We just know that it's a change and that it's different and that we're going to have to adjust to it, but we don't quite know. And that fear of the unknown, I think, is why we're really afraid. Why we're really afraid of change. For the most part, there are plenty of people who embrace change, who say, you know what, things are changing and bring it on. And oftentimes, change can be good because something that changes is something that needs to change. But yeah, change can be scary sometimes. But this next one is called A Quiet Night. Curled up in bed, covers over my body. Not a worry in the world, just peace and quiet, to relax, or to think. Either option is fine for me. The quiet of the night brings its peace and comfort. For me, there's nothing better than a quiet night, just a night where you're just as chilling, nothing really crazy going on. You're just maxing and relaxing for the night, whether you're drifting off to sleep or just unwinding after a long day. It's definitely a comforting feeling, like especially after a long day at work. You get home, you get to kick off your shoes and just lay back and relax. Just curl up in your bed, and maybe you got something to drink. Whether you're just scrolling through your phone, looking at memes, whether you're watching something on TV, whether you curl up with a good book. But yeah, so nothing beats a nice, quiet, chill, just peaceful, awesome night. But this next one's called Poem for Haruko, and this is by June Jordan. I never thought I'd keep a record of my pain or happiness, like candles lighting the entire soft lace of the air, around the full length of your hair / a shower, organized by God, in brown and auburn, undulations luminous like particles of flame. But now I do retrieve an afternoon of apricots, and water intersped it with cigarettes, and sand and rocks. We walked across. How easily you held my hand beside the low tide of the world. Now I do relieve an evening of retreat, a bridge I left behind, where all the solid heat of lust and tender trembling lay as cruel and as kind as passion spins its infinite tergiversations in between the bitter and the sweet. Alone and longing for you, now I do. As the name would suggest, June here is dedicating the poem to this Haruko person, and judging by how the poem's laid out and some of the things described, they definitely had kind of a relationship, kind of a thing going on whether it be a relationship, like full on serious committed one. Obviously, it was very intense as the way it's being described and everything, and kind of like reminiscing, June kind of reminiscing on her relationship with Haruko. But then, and as we see later on, now I do relieve an evening retreat, a bridge I left behind. So obviously the relationship is over and finished between these two, but kind of showing some of that remorse, or maybe the relationship, maybe lamenting, June may be lamenting how her relationship with Haruko ended. Perhaps and I do know that sometimes, and I've explored it, and I've explained it before, how the narrator isn't always the writer, or so it could be a case of maybe this is Haruko's point of view and talking about June, or how June's perceiving Haruko talking about her. But for the sake of argument, and assuming that June, aka the person writing, is the narrator, sorry if you hear kind of the background noise. My dad's mowing the lawn, but but assuming that that June is the narrator here, so having this intense relationship, we see kind of remorse, like remorse that it ended, perhaps remorse of how it ended, and the fact that it's over. You know, that post breakup depression is definitely real. Oh, and simply want to rekindle here, saying, alone and longing for you, now I do. So June wanting to get back with Haruko. Will Haruko reciprocate? Did Haruko reciprocate? It's up to interpretation, but kind of just reminiscing and then lamenting at the relationship being over, which, hey, I've definitely been there. But this last one's called Bright Bloom, and this is by Helene Achanzar, and if I do mispronounce any of these names, I do apologize. I wish I had hiked the frozen hills tonight for reception. Called to tell you I had a good time. Hearing the two Somali cab drivers laughing, near an avalanche of on-sale oranges. I played a prince in absolute awe as the orchestra soared. I wish I had braved the snow to say, I ain't want nothing but got the world. How I'll whisper about the one wasp, who lived with me here through all of October. That snowy owl in the nettles so close inland. In November, the night, its slick of moon. Tell me again what your home looks like. Wet grapefruit pulp, pomegranate juices running over fingers as the fruit is split, I should say. Every dirt smudge on the cream carpet. The morning sunlight dancing off shards of glass, knocking perfume bottles and photographs. Light empty into itself like a sun at the center of a sun. This life of little regret, with no sad trombones. I imagine a new year, caked with your grin, your unflagging belief in the bright bloom, the point just before liberation. The road will end one day, but on all other days, it does not. Think, my love, of all the stars, where better versions are breathing. So kind of an interesting one here. Again, kind of similar to the past one, to the previous one. Helene here talking to someone, whoever she's writing this poem to, kind of talking to someone again, and kind of putting Helene in the shoes of the narrator, even if that may not be the case for the sake of argument, because we obviously don't know for sure. For argument's sake, putting her in the shoes of the narrator, or talking to this person and talking about the bloom right here in the bright bloom, the point just before liberation. The road will end one day, and all the other days. So, the bright bloom, talking about kind of new beginnings, kind of talking about moving forward. Perhaps another reminiscing here, or probably just talking at least. With the person she's talking with here, but kind of that bright bloom signifying the new beginning, saying how she's moving into this new beginning. Talk about all these things that happened previously, but now moving into this new beginning, this new chapter in her life. At least that's what I'm getting out of it, and it's always nice when you move from one chapter of your life to the next, especially if the previous chapter wasn't great. But moving from one chapter into the next, and talking and kind of reminiscing on some of the things in the past, and kind of some catching up as well about what's going on as she's moving into the new here, into this new season, into this new period of her life. That's kind of what I'm getting out of it. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on any of these poems that we talked about and your reaction to them. Did you dislike them? And what's your interpretation of them? Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.